on that.
You've been out to Provo before.
I have, yeah.
What was the crowd and atmosphere like?
They have a good atmosphere. It'll be packed. They support their team there. They've been good for a long time. It's a national, brand product, and good student section, and Friday night games I think is kind of their deal. In the night games, they kind of live for those, and they've always played a lot of Friday night games. I don't know if that has anything to do with the school or whatever, but I know they always have a lot of Friday night games, and it's always packed. So they're really nice to you when you get there, and then they get really rowdy as the game gets going on because they want to win. So it's a good atmosphere for football.
How do y'all simulate that as best as possible? Just the music? Or?
Well, we play Bon Jovi music till we can't hardly stand it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Every day out there at practice, and it's really loud. And it was extra loud this week, especially today. It was bumping pretty good out there. So, that's probably the biggest thing is you just kind of practice in that. We're a hand signal, you've got all those type things anyhow, and we're basically a silent count anyhow with our cadence. So I don't think it'll bother us very much.
Have y'all talked about the elevation any this week?
No, we hadn't. I think the elevation out there is probably just like what it is in the western part of North Carolina, a little bit like that too. So I don't think it's going to be a factor. I think that's something that they probably promote. They want you to think that. I know I spent some time obviously in Boone coaching Appalachian State. We put every wall had a sign up about the elevation and all that stuff, especially in the visitors dressing room, which was a sight job, and it worked to some extent. But having played there one time, I'm obviously not an expert, but I don't remember anybody ever mentioning anything about, the air being too thin to breathe or anything like that. So, no.
How proud were you of just the offense against UCF, taking advantage of a good defense and getting some one-on-one matchups, but winning those?
Well, yeah, when you have a good game, you always feel good. The winning's the main thing. Though we always try to keep the main thing, and that's to win the game. And I tell the offense every week, not to put pressure on them, but just to state the facts because that's kind of my job. We've played really, really good 5 times this year, and you see what's happened. And then I thought we played pretty good in the first game, against a really good defense, which has proven to be a pretty good defense as the year's gone on up there. But I thought we played good enough to win the game. But with 5 games, we've lit it up now. You know what I'm saying? And so last week we had, if you don't count the kneel down, which was 1 play, 8 possessions. We scored 6 of them. We did try to claim one off the goalpost again just to see if we could do it, and I guess we could. So we didn't ever punted 1 time. So, yeah, you feel good about that. Now, when you come back in and you look at it, there's still a lot of things you got to correct. It's just more fun to correct them, when you've had a win like that. But it was a great team victory. They're a good team. I'm sure they'll prove to be a good team too. The college game right now is getting to the point where it's just hard to play your best every week, and there's just so many other good teams. There's really not a lot of any bad teams anymore. The team at the bottom of your league can go and almost beat the top team anymore, and sometimes they do. So, but it was good. Yeah, we feel good about that. You don't get to enjoy it long. You get home at midnight or whatever it is, and, you stay up as long as you can to try to enjoy it because the next day you come in, you put the film on, and there's 25, 26-year-old grown men that are huge, that you're getting ready to go play against, and it's a proud program. It's a national program. It's a program that was ranked 12th in the country not that long ago. Now, they've had a ton of injuries. And, probably they'll all be back this week. It's probably the way you have to prepare for that. But I know they're going to respond, so it'll be a great challenge. But it's what you do. It's why you do this, because you like that.
Do you feel like you guys unlocked anything on offense, or is every game just sort of its own little world?
Well, I think we're getting better. You know what I'm saying? Which is the key, is that you have to keep getting better, or because other teams will get better. The team that just stays the same, obviously is getting worse, really. So I think that we're hitting on a lot of cylinders. I think there's a lot of guys playing well. I think they're playing with some confidence. The week before, like I'd said, I really didn't realize we were down 17-0 because I wasn't focused on that. I guess I had preached to them, quit looking at the scoreboard. It doesn't matter. You have to play the next play. And I guess they did a little bit of that. I know I did it, I guess. But what's good is now we've gotten ahead and we've kept the lead throughout the whole game. We did that at South Florida. we're behind, we've come back. Those are the things that make you better, is when your team just starts believing momentum's always coming our way, okay? Then when you got the momentum, pedal to the metal. When you don't, you got to get the brakes on it, you got to get it reversed. Somebody's got to make a play, you got to stay excited about it, and that's kind of what we're doing right now, so yeah.
Have you found that like there's that confidence is lasting when you start the game with a drive like that? Like you just immediately kind of have that confidence?
You know, we've started relatively well every game, though we haven't scored very much in the first drive, but we seem like we've scored the second drive a lot. And, you know, it was a little bit like we always discuss with Coach, me and Blake, you want the ball, you don't want the ball. Well, I always want the ball. You know what I'm saying? Defensive guys always want to defer and get the ball in the second half. And so I guess I won this week, you know what I'm saying? So we win. But we seem to lose the coin toss every time anyhow, and the other team always defers, so we get it a lot. And we did drive it down there, and I'm just disappointed that we didn't put it in the end zone and score. Like I say there, we kicked the field goal, we missed the field goal. But I'm disappointed that we had to settle for the field goal because we were playing pretty well right from the get-go.
When you saw a lot of man this week, did anything that happened in that South Florida game a few weeks ago give you extra confidence in your guys to prove, hey, man on man, I got the best guys in the conference?
Well, we have that. They have that. We believe that. You know, it was good to see. They did blitz us quite a bit. We were prepared for that, though they don't always do that. You know, they do a great job. As I said last week, I thought the toughest thing about Central Florida was how he mixes it. And there's no pattern. There's no rhyme or reason. I don't care what analytics, every way we studied it. You know, I said he's got to have a hat. He's got to just shake it up, be sticking it in. All right, call that call right there because he's just mixing it so well. They have the personnel to do that because they're good at zone. They're good at man too. But they play different kinds of man. And they show man and then they back out of it. The way we didn't score on the first drive, we had the guy open. He just couldn't hold the ball long enough. They had a zone blitz going, and Holden's amazing. He had them to a T. He knew every coverage, every defense they were in. He moved the back over just to confirm if the guy was going to play him in man coverage. And so the back went over, the guy went, he brought the guy back, confirmed, okay, you're playing this guy man. But what they do is he had to block inside because they brought some more guys, and the guy added on, and the guy did a great job. And it was just a matter of a moment. If he could have held it, Jalen almost had it. He just couldn't make the throw. That was a really good job by them. That's a good scheme that I got you man, you block, I rush, and he was fast enough to run. Normally you think if it take you that long, the ball would be gone, but the dude was pretty fast. He got there and hit him right before he made the throw. So they mixed it, but yeah, you know, when I'm sitting there and you call a play, coach will often say, do you like it? You know, and, you know, sometimes he says that before we even line up. You know, I'm like, well, we got to wait and see. A lot, when they line up in man, usually I go, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Sounds like BYU's head coach before last game took over defensive play calling duties. Does that change things for you as far as approaching, you know, how they do things defensively? You
know, we read all those things too. We find BYU Stephen Igo, whatever his name is out there, that's what we call him, BYU Stephen Igo or whoever. I really kind of mean that a little bit. But and read all the things, and then I know he had a thing out, and I don't ever get on the other stuff, so somebody showed me, like, okay, here he's talking. But I got to figure, you know, because we research them. You research the coordinator, you research the head coach. The head coach is a defensive guy. So you got to figure the guy wasn't running the defense that the head coach didn't know or didn't like, you know. And for him to be able to go right back in and take it over in 1 week, obviously he's been very involved in that defense. So I don't think they'll change much. I know he had a comment that we're going to simplify it. Now, they run a lot of schemes. We've had some other teams that we said did that as well. They run a lot of different defense. They play a lot of different guys. Even before they were all injured, their depth chart, you know, you get the too deep everybody wants, they got 15 positions listed. I've never seen a defense list 15 different. You know, I know offenses sometimes might list, you know, 12 or 13 because you got 3 wide sets, you got 4 wide sets, you got maybe 2 backs. You know, that's kind of the way the game is going now. But defensively, you know, maybe they'd list 12 like a nickel back or something as a start. They have 15 different positions. So like I say, they've got about 3 or 4 different schemes. So they'll probably not play all the defenses. The problem is you don't know which ones they're going to pick. You don't know which one. We're not going to know till in the game. You know, are they 4 down? Are they going to be the 3 down? Are they going to be the 3 linebacker stack 3 down? Are they going to be the 3-4? They got a lot of different defenses, and we're to that point in the season where you have a lot of film on them, which is good, but you can't drive yourself crazy because then you can sometimes just get the chasing ghost and get to doing, God, they got so many things. So in the end, we always kind of study it and work our way back to who are we, what do we do good. Let's just make sure we don't change, and we'll run our stuff. And like you say, you're always looking for matchups, and that's why you move people around, and that's why you get in different formations. We're fortunate that we can run it and we can throw it, and we stay pretty balanced most of the time. And you know, Holton's done a really, really good job this year in the RPO game of taking the run when the run is there and taking the pass when the pass is there. And not that he hadn't done a good job the other years, but there were times he's forced it. You know, I used to always say Holton's issue is he's used to having to do it all, or feels that way, and he's not done that nearly as much this year. He's let the other guys do some of the heavy lifting, and he's kind of orchestrated it. And that's what a good quarterback does. He's a great quarterback. Right now, he's the best in the country. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it.